Hello, it's Sisvolk. Time to enjoy card making with me. In today's video, again we will be using this nice flower makes me wonder pattern paper. And again these wonderful leaves clear stamps. I recently made a video with these stamps and papers, but I like these stamps so much that I wanted to show you another technique. These products are from the New Year bundle in the AlINACRAFT store. In this video I am using a hot foil sentiment and champagne colored hot foil. We will be hot foiling on the pretty pattern paper. If you don't have a hot foil machine or any of the products I use, you can also make a card using other stamps and add a stamped sentiment instead. So let's go and have some fun card making. Let's start by choosing the papers we need for the card. For my card I'm looking for a pattern paper that is not too busy and has not too dark colors in it. Also I need plain colors to go with it. Let's take a blue, a green and maybe a purple or pink. Best are colors that are also in the pattern paper. If you are using other pattern paper, then look for plain papers that has the same colors in it that match. The card base I have in mind is 13.5 by 13.5 centimeters. When I later glue the pattern on, I want to leave a narrow white border visible. Therefore I need to subtract half a centimeter on each side, which means the panel should be 12.5 by 12.5 centimeter in size. That also gives me two nice borders to use on the envelope. I want to foil this piece of paper with this foil plate. I will not need the die now. My foil plate looks very shiny and that is because I used it once when I put the foil the wrong way round on the paper. With that I foiled the metal plate instead of the paper. Doesn't matter, I can still use it for foiling just fine. I want it here in the middle. And for that I use the hinge technique, which I'm sure you have seen from other creators. My apologies for the crooked view. My camera was hanging awfully crooked above my desk. I choose its champagne color foil from AlINACRAFT. And I cut a piece off that I can slide under the hot foil plate, leaving a piece of tape on top of the plate. When you put the foil back into the tube, first put the cap on the roll of foil, then hold it upside down, and only then push the cap into the tube. Now the piece I cut off is way too big. I trim that. I save the leftovers for smaller hot foil plates or for other techniques. You place the foil with the matte side against the paper, shiny side up. Then flip the glimmer plate over and make sure the foil falls right under the hot foil plate. I also cut off this excess anyway, as it can cause overfoiling. In an earlier video I made, you can see how to use the rest pieces. A link for this can be found in the description below the video. Just to be sure, I put an extra piece of tape on the hot foil plate. My machine has been on for a while and hot by now. Then I now place the hot foil plate with the paper on the base of the glimmer machine. Then I press the timer button and wait till the light goes on. When the light turns green, I can pull the base out and run it through the die cutting machine. I use the new and improved Platinum 6 cutting and embossing machine from Spellbinders. Sorry about the movement, I hope you don't get seasick. Now I place the heated base plate with hot foil plate and foil and paper in the die cutting machine. On top of that I place the glimmer plate, a folded printer paper and the spacer pad. And this sandwich I run through the machine, back and forth. Carefully I flip the hot foil plate and I see what I was already a little afraid of. The hot foil has not caught everywhere nicely. The advantage of the hinge method is that I can do it again, because the tape still puts the plate in the right place. Unfortunately, even after a second time heating and putting it through the machine, the foil did not foil perfectly as you can see, which I regret, especially on this beautiful paper. It could be due to several things. It could be because this paper is not super smooth, But it could also be because some foil needs more pressure when foiling, or the hot foil plate needs to be heated for longer than 1 minute. Previously I had no problems with this foil, so I suspect it is due to the paper in combination with the temperature. To still be able to use my paper and not waste it, I'm going to foil over this foil again, with a new piece of foil. I'm going to put the hot foil plate again on the exact same spot, and you can feel that a little bit because the plate has embossed a little bit in the paper. I slide a new piece of foil under the hinge, let the plate heat up a little longer than 1 minute, and this time I run the foil base through the machine with 2 paper shims between the plates. I run it through the machine back and forth. If you have tips for foiling troubles, let them know below in the comments. But this time my repair session worked, thankfully. It may look on the video like pieces of foil didn't stick, but this is really due to the light. The whole text is now shiny. Here is my card base. It is a folded 13.5 by 13.5 cm piece of paper. The foiled pattern paper is 12.5 by 12.5 cm wide. And if I place it on top of it, I have a really nice card already. This would be nice for mass production cards if you need a stack of cards to give as a present to someone. But for me that would be too easy. I like to step it up a bit. We are going to stamp using these wonderful leaf stamps on top of the plain colored papers. But do not skip too soon. I have a technique for you to share that you might already know, but also don't think about. And I like this technique for its simplicity. I choose the small leaves and one other leaf with more or less the same shape. You could choose any other leaves or any other stamps you like. I take just 2 leaves and not a whole range to keep it simple. I stamp using clear blocks. Check out my video about them if you haven't seen that one yet. Now I will be using Versamark ink for stamping. We all know Versamark ink as a sticky ink for heat embossing, but you can also use it to stamp the image on the colored paper and see it as kind of a watermark. The paper will get slightly darker by the ink when it's dry. I stamp on different shades on the paper. So I'll stamp it again on this darker piece of paper and see what color I like best and on which shade the ink shows best. Now you can't see it very well, but when it dries you'll see it better. In a moment we will see the difference. Then I will now stamp with water-based ink, and for that I will use the other leaves. I added Memento Teal Seal for the blue paper and Memento Bamboo leaves for the green paper. When stamping with water-based ink, keep the stamp on the paper a little longer, so the ink has time to briefly soak into the paper. In between, I clean the stamp with some water and a microfiber cloth. I spray some water on the cloth and then I wipe the stamp on it. With green ink we do the same thing on the green paper. You can see the stamped leaves a little better when using Versamark. I like it as a variety and contrast, but of course you can decide whether to use Versamark ink or another ink or a combination, so both are possible. Oops, that nearly went wrong. We cut out these leaves. I leave a border around them. If you like it better to cut out the edges more closely, you can do that as well. These leaves are so easy to cut out, you will not need a matching die. Water-based ink soaks into the paper quickly. Therefore, you can touch it really quick and cut the stamps out quickly after stamping, without having smudges on the paper. Pigment inks and Versamark ink needs more time to dry. Therefore, you will have to wait longer or use a heat tool to dry it before you can cut out the shape. Cutting is much easier when you use small scissors with a sharp pointed blade. The leaves I stamped with Versamark ink look like a watermark. They are very subtle. I also cut those out with a border around them. Now I grab the card, and what I do now is very simple. I cut the big leaves in half. Using long bladed scissors, I get a straight cut in one go. I hold the leaf on the place where I more or less want it to be and then cut. The other half will go to the other side of the card. Same for the other leaf. Next, what I want to do is shuffle around with these leaves until I like how it looks. I like the other color of pink better on the card, so I use that one. With some foam squares, I will glue the bigger leaves to the card panel. 3 of them will be enough. These foam squares will give it some dimension and also a contrast shadow that we need on this pattern paper. The smaller leaves that already have more contrast in the stamping, I glue on flat with glue. I've put some Craft Emotions multi-medium matte glue in this glue bottle to easily glue it without using too much glue. Before gluing the panel to the card, we need to check if small pieces are sticking out and cut them off. We can directly glue the panel to the card, or we can add a colored border. Let's see if I should do a border around it. No, that's not what I like, so I skip this. I prefer to glue the panel raised. And in doing that, I will also share some tips, so keep attention. To not spoil too much foam tape, I will cut them into smaller strips. What I'm doing here is I glue my foam tape in strips on the backing of an old and used piece of backing foil from a used up sticker sheet or double-sided tape. Cutting them is much easier now. Your scissors don't get sticky this way. I could also cut them in smaller pieces, but this gives me a better stability for the card panel. What you also can do to make the panel raised is glue a big piece of foam on top, or just use stacked pieces of scrap papers. I don't use cardboard or scrap papers much, because that will make the card heavy as well, and we don't want to pay too much for shipping the card, don't we? Next thing we want is gluing this panel straight onto the card base. We need to remove all the backing strips first. Having the panel getting crooked on your paper can be an issue if your panel is smaller than the card base. The tip I will share is an eye-opener. Again, we will take the backing of a double-sided tape or sticker paper or maybe a baking sheet. Make it in the size of the card panel. That would be the easiest. Mine is slightly too big. Now you stick that with the shiny part to the sticky foam strips we just glued onto the panel. And now you peel one corner loose and fold that over. Now you hover that above your card and eyeball where you want to stick the panel. If you have trouble eyeballing, you could add little pencil marks on one corner to align the panel. At the moment I'm having difficulties in seeing it well, because I don't want to hang my head in front of the camera. But when the panel is in its right place, you can press the part where there is no foil backing, so that it sticks to the card. And then you can carefully pull back the rest of the foil backing and stick the rest of the panel to the card. Now you can keep this backing for usage next time. The panel is nicely centered and I like the dimension it has. Also the combination of the soft colors and the foiling is stunning. The paper strips I have left, I use to stick in the inside of the card and glue on the envelope for decoration. Always check to see if you are gluing at the right side. I also used the pink leaf I had left over on the front and the back of the envelope. Now doesn't this look nice? Great match in my opinion. Now here you see the card again. A pretty card with lots of techniques in it. Pretty patterned paper with champagne colored foil, hot foiled on the middle of a square card. I hope you can see the foil well, it looks stunning in real life. I stamped some leaves using Versamark ink to give it a watermark effect. I cut them in half and glued them raised. The other small leaves I stamped with blue and green memento ink and stuck them flat onto the panel. I glued the whole panel raised onto the card. And I used the leftovers for the inside of the card and to embellish the envelope. I hope you came up with a few ideas and tips for hot foiling and stamping. I would love it if you like and subscribe to my channel Sis Volk. If you are interested in any of the products I used, you can find them below in the description. And at the end of the video I will link to other videos for hot foiling and stamping. Have a nice day and enjoy card making! Bye bye!